Welcome to NextGen EDU's AI Innovation Series, where we take a quick, candid look at real people and their views and the use of AI to transform higher education. No hype, just insight. Lawrence Rue brings over 30 years of experience at the intersection of technology and education. Each episode features conversations with inspiring individuals who are passionate about helping others succeed through learning. And now, your host, Lawrence Rue.
Thanks, Chris, and welcome everybody to AI Innovation, the quick-hitting series where we explore how AI is transforming higher ed. I'm Lawrence Rue, and today I'm joined by David A. Armstrong, JD, president of St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens, Florida. Dave has been the president since 2018. He's been driving record enrollment, increasing fundraising, and has over 500,000 square feet of new campus facilities. His leadership has expanded STU's footprint with new academic, residential, and student life spaces, making it one of the nation's fastest growing faith-based universities. Dave is known for his bold entrepreneurial approach to higher education leadership with a career that spans law, athletics, and executive leadership. And under his presidency, St. Thomas has embraced new technologies, expanded global partnership, and strengthened its mission as a Catholic liberal arts institution serving an increasingly diverse student population. Today, we'll explore how Dave's perspective on AI fits into the broader picture of innovation in higher ed, how leaders can balance mission and modernity, and what it really takes to prepare students for their future work life. So without further ado, let's bring on Dave. Welcome, Dave, and thank you for agreeing to be on the show. I'm really excited to have you.
Absolutely, Lawrence. It's always great to see you. We've done work together in the past, and anytime you call, I'm going to answer.
That's right. And I've really enjoyed being part of the success of St. Thomas, although I know your leadership and the institution's drive has really been instrumental in making that happen. But today I'm excited to share some of your views with the viewers, and I want to jump right into some of our questions, unless you have any things you want to talk about beforehand.
Oh, no. Just very excited to be here. And, this is a very interesting time, I'll just say, in higher education. And so anytime that we can do podcasts and help each other out, that's an excellent thing to do for your constituency. So very excited to be here.
All right. Well, let's jump in. So our first question is, do you think all institutions should adopt AI? And if so, what should be their first step?
So, I heard one speaker say that whatever we did with social media and how big that's been and big impact with the internet, the advent of the internet, and then social media and all these kind of things, that AI is going to be 1,000 times more impactful than that. Okay, so there's a positive and a negative there. But I believe that if we as universities are not adopting AI in almost every aspect of the institution, then you are going to leave your students behind. You're going to leave your university behind, but you're going to most importantly leave your students behind because they have to know how to use this.
I agree. It's transformational, right?
It is transformational. But of course, and this is the most important part where STU is taking a leadership role, and I believe in this field, is that this must be tempered with the idea that AI should operate within an ethical framework and promote human flourishing. And so that's a very important part of this. And so I've asked my team, 2 years ago when AI was everyone was talking about it. We don't have engineering programs and things like that. We're not working in that area, but we are a Catholic university. We have our Institute for Ethical Leadership and the Ethical Leadership Studies program. We have a law school. We have criminal justice. We have cybersecurity. We have data analytics. We have education. I said, we can be a leader in developing the guidelines, the guardrails, and the policies and procedures for the ethical use of AI. And we've done that. We've come out with 7 standards, and we have set up what we call AREN, which is the Artificial Intelligence Research Ethical Network. So we are going to bring together all scholarship on the ethical use of AI, and hopefully people will be using that. And one of the 7 standards is there has to be a human check on everything we do. Now, we don't want to stop the speed with which we use AI, right? But if we don't put something in place, then we're all going to be living with the Terminator.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I talked to Steve, your CIO, he walked me through that website. I was very impressed with the work y'all have done. So congratulations so far.
Thank you.
Next question, what do you think should concern President in regards to the adoption of AI on campus, besides the Terminator, of course?
Yes. Number one is I think you have to have some centralization of who's working with the AI and what they're doing with it, right? Because we can all just go on our phone and be in ChatGPT, right? Everybody can do everything on their own. And so number one is we're setting up our own policies, procedures on the use of AI at the university. Okay, so you got to start, I was a former general counsel of a college and university, so I'm really big on that is policies and procedures, right? Is anticipate what the issues can be and develop some policies and procedures, and you can always change those and update those, but start with some type of framework of who gets to use it, how they get to use it, when they get to use it, and what are the checks and balances within the academic realm, within your administrative realm, within everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that a president has to take the lead on that, okay, to make sure that you have your guidelines and policies and procedures. And then I have to come out as the leader of the institution and say, hey, we're not afraid of AI. We're cautious about it, but we know we have to be a part of this, and we know we have to lead in this because this is the future. And there's some amazing things that you can see just writing emails and writing letters. Okay, it's amazing how good it is at this. But then we've also seen, especially in the last election, who's putting in the information, right?
Yeah.
And so you ask it a question, can Donald Trump be president? No, never, never. Can so-and-so be a president? Yes, they're going to be the next president. I mean, somebody's putting that in there, and we can't have that. That's got to be neutral as best we can do. And so, again, having those policies and procedures, I think, is a key thing. But the president has to come out, in my opinion, and say, hey, as a university, we are going to use AI, and we're going to use it in the right way to help our students navigate this new field and this new area so that they can go out and get great jobs and be learned in the use of AI.
Yeah, well, I like to see that, because you would think some institutions would say, oh, that's technology, leave it to the technology department. And it's really not, right? It's an institutional issue.
Yes.
And we have to treat it as such. So I appreciate your viewpoint on that. Next question, how do we approach balancing innovation and technology with the Catholic intellectual tradition that defines UST? So really getting to the gut of the institution, right?
Yeah, here at St. Thomas University, STU, what we do is everything that we are all about mission, okay? Our mission statement is that we are an archdiocesan Catholic university with rich cultural and international diversity, committed to the academic and professional success of its students who go on to become ethical leaders in the global community. So one of the reasons why I came to STU, because I started the first ever ethical leadership studies program in the country at the bachelor's and master's level at my previous institution, Thomas More in Northern Kentucky, another diocesan Catholic school. There's only 8 left in the country. And so I knew I could come here and build my dream program. We have a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD in ethical leadership studies. And so that's grounded in ethics, philosophy, and theology, with the liberal arts, with a business core, because an ethical leader needs to know where the money is. And then we actually go out to companies and industries and ask them, what do you need in your future leaders? What should we be educating them for? And then lastly, experiential learning. We have to put our students in leadership roles before they graduate so they know what they're doing when they get out there and have to start making decisions and work. And so because of that, and what we do is we then talk about the Catholic intellectual tradition. And I'm going to summarize 1,000 years of education in Catholic intellectual tradition with a summary of what it is. So the Catholic intellectual tradition says that we will seek out all answers, no matter where it takes us, knowing that in the end, God is at the center. And so there are people out there that believe technology and the human being is the supreme being, and it's not. God is. And so if you leave God out of whatever you're doing with AI, okay, that's probably not the best thing, and we won't end up with human flourishing when it's all said and done. And so we, again, with the AREN, the Artificial Intelligence Ethical Research Network, we are trying to put God first, as God always should be, in our actions and moral accountability. And again, we're all sinners, we're all human beings, we make mistakes, but we should have those human checks to make sure that what we do is eventually serving that purpose. And so again, we'll seek out those answers no matter where it takes us.
Yeah.
But knowing that in the end, we have that guide. It's the supreme being and it's God, and we got to do the right thing with the use of AI. Letting students use AI to write their papers, not good, not ethical. Having AI help them write their papers and be accurate and still do the research, that's good.
Yeah. It's a formidable challenge, and it sounds like you're up to it, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be a challenge for all of us, but we have to start out with some certain principles as we go into any type of educational tool.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for higher ed leaders who want to embrace AI but face cultural or operational resistance from their organizations?
That's interesting. That's a great question. So myself as a turnaround guy in this business, that's all I deal with is operational and cultural resistance. And there's that old saying that culture will eat strategy for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't have a good culture that's open to new things, then you're going to be stuck analog playing on a turntable, right? And so those days are over. Joseph Owen's book, Robot Proof, president of Northeastern, said, how do we make our students robot proof with AI coming along? And he talked about educating. Higher ed should educate in the 3 literacies: technological literacy, so you got to know how to use technology; big data literacy, you got to know how to gather big data, disseminate big data, communicate big data to people like me who are digital immigrants;
Mm-hmm.
and the human literacy, the liberal arts, being able to read well, write well, communicate effectively, think analytically, think critically. Okay. Those, people call soft skills. That's baloney. They're essential skills.
Mm-hmm.
And we at STU, you got all this political stuff going on, and we've made a commitment that we don't tell students what to think. We teach them how to think. And that's what we should be doing in higher ed. And then how to educate all those things, experiential learning, putting students in a place where they can learn hands-on what they need to do in their field. We give them the acumen, we give them the intelligence in their major, but then we need to show them how to do it. And so for me is when we're doing a turnaround is we are very clear. Here's what we want to do. Here's the vision. Here's the plan to implement the vision. Then the leader must lead by example. And the best way to deal with this opposition is to find people with the shared vision. And then lastly, and this is the definition of leadership, the 5 things I was just talking about. And the last one is hold people accountable to the plan.
Yeah.
And so as the president, you have to come out with your vision of the use of AI, what you're going to do with it, have a plan for that, lead by example with that, and then find people that are going to help you implement it in the plan, and then hold people accountable to that plan.
I think that's a great idea. And the critical thinking piece is really, really actually critical, right? To helping people be part of that. Like they have to think for themselves and they have to really know how to learn. So
it's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be indoctrinating students. We are supposed to be teaching them how to think for themselves.
Yeah. So next question, what's one bold move you think universities should make, and especially presidents, in the next 5 years to stay relevant in an AI-driven world?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that we're doing is, number one, we want to take a leadership role in the ethical use of AI. So that was my bold vision. But the next one is we want to get in the technological side of the game. So we're starting engineering specifically to get us in the game with artificial intelligence. And we'll have different engineering programs, but as a faith-based liberal arts institution with career-oriented majors, we didn't have engineering. But I've just made a decision with the institution and the support of the board and our faculty is that we're moving towards bringing more of that technology to the fore by starting an engineering program.
Yeah, I think, and what they're saying right now is AI won't replace people. People who know AI will replace people. So teaching people those skills is really critical, right?
I was watching a TV segment on the news, and there was this new company that developed an AI program for fast food entities. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we think about fast food restaurants, and that's where a lot of us got our start in the working world, right? Entry-level position. And at one point in the piece, the guy from the AI program says, and literally you don't talk to any humans. You order your food, they process, they make the food, they put the food out, and you pick up the food, right? No human beings at all. And the guy says at one point, he says, see, because this is great, because then this way humans can do what human things they're doing. And I'm like, well, what is that? So we have so many young people that start out their career in fast food and customer service, and you're saying that AI is going to take that over, and then they can go do other things. Well, what are those other things?
Yeah, and even in the consulting firms, right? They're saying the lower level entry positions are being taken by AI too. So it's hard for even educated students to get started nowadays.
So we have a wonderful judge down here, a federal judge, Robert Altman, who ended up he was the youngest appointed federal judge in history at the age of 36. Brilliant guy. Played football and baseball at Columbia. He's a Miami native, and he has his law degree, and he worked as a prosecutor, and now he's a judge and worked in private law firms and the whole bit, the big law firms. And he spoke to our students at our orientation this year, and it was so enlightening. And he said, he goes, if you think AI is not going to change the legal profession, number one, you're crazy. We know it's already changing it. But he said and he said, what do you want to do? If you want to go to a big firm, okay, and make big money initially, he said, watch out, because there's only one job in the legal profession that AI cannot do. The Constitution says that you get to be judged by a jury of your peers, that means human beings, and you get to have a human being represent you. So he talked about students graduating law school and not necessarily thinking about that big, high-paying big law firm job. Think about public law, where you're actually going to be in the courtroom and be the lawyer, because a lot of the things that a new lawyer would do, entry-level lawyer in a big law firm, is legal research, documentation review, and and he said, this was brilliant. He said, and you break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you go out and get hungover, and you get sick. AI is going to do this 24 hours a day and not have any of those issues. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'll move on to the next question. You're known for your energy, and I've seen a lot of videos that will prove that, and student engagement. What's one thing you do as a president that AI could never replace?
It's to me, it's just being there in person, right? The students, I'm amazed sometimes when I talk to my fellow presidents and how they're not as engaged with students. To me, that's the best part of the job. That's why you do what you do. And so I attend a lot of events of our students, athletic events, academic events, co-curricular events, and engaging the students. Just before we did this podcast, a student came in to thank me for a scholarship that my wife and I created in ethical leadership studies in the name of our fathers who have both passed. So it's the Armstrong Heffenmeyer Ethical Leadership Scholarship. And this young lady came in, and she just wanted to tell me how grateful she was that she received the scholarship, but she wanted to meet me. And I got to talk to her and find out who she is. She's from Las Vegas. She used to wrestle in high school. She was a women's wrestler, and she joined our rugby team. And, she gets to now go back into the residence hall and tell other students that she just talked with the president, and call her parents and tell them that. And so for me, one thing that AI is never going to replace is engagement. Now, can AI make me more effective as a president to get more documents out, document review out, get more emails out and letters to donors? And absolutely. But the one thing it cannot do is be me. And
now I'm going to push back on a little bit, and not you, but AI is replacing people's relationships with each other. I don't know if you've seen some of the shows where people are having relationships more with their phone and with the AI on their phone than they are with other people. And even I saw a show the other day where Japan's population is declining so much, like they're having 2 deaths to every 1 birth.
Yes.
And the young people just don't. They have individual tables at restaurants now to promote this. Like, it's so much individuality. So I think it's another one of those scary things that we got to watch out for and make sure people don't lose touch with each other, right?
Yeah. Ultimately, we know just by that number that you gave, ultimately that will destroy itself, because there won't be any more people.
Yeah.
And so, to say that I can have a girlfriend that's AI, that may sound good and feel good for the first, couple months maybe, but eventually there's got to be that human interaction. And obviously, in order to procreate, you have to have sex. And so now that could change, I guess, in the future. Everything's possible, correct? But I find that very disconcerting. And I would say in higher education, we have to challenge students who want to do that, because human interaction ultimately is, everything that we're about should be about human flourishing. And in order to have human flourishing, you need to be with other humans.
It was an interesting show. I think it was a 60 Minutes, broadcast. But then the people in Japan, the leadership is starting to try to use technology and AI to bring the kids back together. And they're creating dating sites and all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting problem for them that they're trying to resolve. It caused by technology, but resolving it with technology too.
And this goes right back to what I said at the beginning. If we don't put in the guidelines and some guardrails and some policies and procedures to protect ourselves, we will be wiped out as a species. And I knew I was on the right track when I don't know if it was the same 60 Minutes, but they were talking about the owner of Oculus, who's building AI weaponry, so that, and I love his theory. People are like, oh, you're building weapons. He's building weapons so that humans won't have to die. Okay, so you won't have to put humans in danger. But here's what he said. He says, every single one of our weapons has a human check.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally started texting my leadership team and everybody. I'm saying, listen, I told you in our 7 standards, this was key. And he said it. And so that made me feel like we were definitely on the right path.
Well, that's awesome. So now we're going to get to some real serious stuff. The question on everyone's mind: are you using AI to win football games?
Well, our football program, Bill Reichel, and our athletic director and head football coach has done an unbelievable job starting a program 7 years ago. So we're in lucky year 7, and we've had 3 years of 4 years of national rankings and 2 years of playoffs. But we had a rough loss last week, and so I'm thinking, what can I do with AI to help us a little bit? But haven't figured that out yet, because again, this is one of those things. You still got to be a human being to get off the ball and hit people and catch the ball and throw the ball and all those kind of things.
Yep.
We haven't figured that out, but I'm sure AI is going to help us break down film and help us do playbooks and all those kind of things. And so I would tell my coaches, hey, let's embrace it when we can. But again, the whole thing about coaching and activities like this, and I always say 70% of what you learn in college is outside of the classroom, the character formation. And football and other outside activities are the best way to develop character formation. And so that's human interaction and developing that character formation.
Well, Dave, I appreciate you being on the show. Besides all the advice you give around AI, I know the fashion advice you give and online and all the videos I see of you are very interesting. So I really appreciate your time and your expertise, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Lawrence. And you know that you're one of my favorites because you taught me how to buy some really nice shoes. And so people comment a lot about my nice shoes, and I always give you credit.
And they're comfortable. You got to be comfortable at conferences, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. God bless. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Dave. That was an energizing and forward-looking conversation about how higher ed leaders can integrate AI while staying true to their mission. Join us next time on AI Innovation as we continue exploring how AI is shaping the future of learning with purpose and perspective. If you enjoyed today's conversation, connect with me on LinkedIn at Lawrence Rue, or for more insights and behind the scenes on thoughts of AI in higher education. You can also follow NextGen EDU on LinkedIn and subscribe to our AI Innovation series on YouTube, so you never miss an episode. And if you got a question or a story about AI in education, drop me a message. I'd love to hear from you, and maybe we'll turn it into a show. You never know. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks for joining us on AI Innovation, where we explore how AI is reshaping higher education with insight, integrity, and imagination. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn or YouTube for updates and future episodes. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep asking the big questions.